Hello, today I'm going to review the Greninja figure from Jazzwares from the Pokemon Select Figures line. My first impressions of the figure are very good. This is a little bit of an older figure. It was one of the first Pokemon Select figures that they made, and it still looks pretty good for its time. As you can see when you turn it around, they really detailed everything, including the backs of certain things like the back of his head and little stars on his legs and all that. But after the first impressions, I'm going to get on into the articulation on this figure. Being that Greninja is a ninja, you'd expect all kinds of articulation going through his joints, and he does have a lot of it. So starting off with his head, I think we'll start off with. You can see he has articulation there. You can bend it sideways, not up and down because of the tongue around his neck, but there is up and down motion in his waist, so you can still make him look up and down. He has a bunch of articulation in his tongue, like that, side to side, up and down. So you can actually wrap his little tongue scarf around him, kind of. But I do like that. Kind of reminds me of the tail on the Mewtwo figure, although this one doesn't have a wire running through it. And he has articulation in the waist, as I said. You can bend that up and down. And there's a lot of articulation in the arms. The arms are very, very fragile, I'll say. So let me show how those work. There's like articulation in the shoulders, and it's in the elbows too. He has these little stoppers so you don't bend it too far. I think I might have mine upside down, so yeah, you can bend the elbows up. You just can't bend them backwards, of course. And let me take a little ninja star out of his hand to show something. I will say you gotta be very careful with these arms because they will break. Although I don't really think that these are meant to be more like toy Pokemon this time around. These are more meant to be displayable figures, as what this company mostly makes is kind of the more toy versions, and they just recently started making these display figures, so that's when I finally started buying their figures. But you can see he also has articulation in the hands, and there's articulation in the top of his legs, in the knees, and in the feet. So that's a good amount of articulation on this figure, I think. It's pretty hard to get him to stand up on his own. I guess you could put his feet down, but I wouldn't really trust that to hold up the weight on this figure, as he does come with a stand. So next we're going to go into the details on this figure. On his head, you can see they printed all the little tan parts around his ears, and like the blue parts in the back of his head, and his eyes, of course, with the top of his eyes having the white color, and then he has like the blue eyelids and the red eyes and all that. And there's even some details in the tongue. And I think the texture of the plastic almost makes him look more amphibian with the kind of little bumps and stuff in it. I guess that's not intentional, but it kind of helps with the effect. And you can see he even has some little nose holes. Going down, they have his chest and his belly printed like that with that tan color. On down, you can see he has like some little stars and some white knees. Let me get the camera to focus more. And he has kind of some webbing in between his toes right there. Same thing goes for his hands. And the printing on his arms gets a little bit scratched. I think this is how the figure came. It's not too bad though. And I should go ahead and show a ninja star. Where did I sit that at? Because I already took one off. He has these ninja stars, and they have a bunch of printing on them, and they look real cool. And there's a little pin on these that you stick into the hole on his hand, and that's how you get him to stick to him, like that. Right here I tried to get him into the design that he has in Super Smash Brothers, so I think that I was able to make him look pretty accurate to how he was in the game, as I had the right articulation in the arms to be able to do that. I will say the arms felt like they got a little bit looser as I was posing him, and I don't like that. But other than that, all the joints felt right, especially in the legs. They felt that they had that perfect amount of stiffness. I also moved the tongue around to kind of make it wrap around him a little bit more. And I put his ninja stars in his hands like he's about to throw them, and put him in more of a running and jumping pose. So overall, I think this is a very good figure. Although I do think that the stiffness on the joints and the arms could be a little bit better. And other than that, this is a really good figure, I think. And he definitely looks good with the other Pokemon figures. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.